Only time will tell. That's Asia right here on Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's doing amazing. Everything is what we make of it. Kind of a topic just in and of itself. And some of these are some of the less popular topics with people, but I think, honestly, these are some of the really things that help us fine-tune our manifestations, help us fine-tune finding happiness in life, being able to enjoy ourselves a little more often than not, which, again, we've talked about before. When you've got your thoughts in the right process, when you're enjoying your life for the most part, then you will find that your energy tends to be more attractive of better experiences, of good experiences. So when we can keep ourselves in that happier feeling place most of the time, and I'm not saying it's just thinking happy thoughts and happy words. No, it's literally sort of trying to be at a place where you're at peace with who you are, with where you are, and what's happened to you. And a lot of us will have times where some situation will have occurred at some point in our lives. And oftentimes, it's something that was a long time ago. And what can be really challenging about this is we can hold on to something that occurred a long time ago, and because of that anger, because of that upset, because of this belief that we maybe have about this individual, maybe about circumstance that became of this. Maybe you're thrown into a pool at a very young age, so you hate going in pools, right? It's kind of that example where because of a certain experience, you now have altered other experiences that you don't partake in because you've got a certain belief around something that may have happened once. Now, if something freaky happened and scares the crud out of you, look, I'm not trying to say stop doing that. Maybe get professional help if there's a way to do that. Maybe it's something that just rightly deserves, your caution. I am not here to make those kinds of judgments. What I'm trying to do is offer some things to think about that you hopefully can look at your life and look at the way you're handling things and see if maybe there's a better approach, or maybe this might tie into some of the reasons why you're not manifesting what it is that you're trying to attract, or you're not getting what you're trying to attract. Now, a lot of times what can happen in the past is something like I said, it can tarnish your belief about something. It can tarnish your belief about a person. And why I think this is a bad road to go, and the example I'm going to give on the why we should be a little more up for forgiving people, right? Giving them a second chance, maybe. I'm into forgiving. I think forgiving is important. I think you should always forgive. I don't think forgetting is necessarily something that I recommend. I don't recommend necessarily forgetting. I don't generally give people an opportunity to hurt me more than once, maybe twice, right? Outside of that, I'm starting to see you as a problem, and I will forgive you as a human being, and I will forgive you for all the things you've done, which I think is super important and definitely ties into what we're talking about. But I'm not necessarily going to forget, and I'm not necessarily ever going to trust again. That's different, right? So I'm not speaking of that. I'm speaking about how we hold on to things. So my example to all of us is, have you ever made a mistake? I know I have. I've talked about it frequently. I've made lots of mistakes, a huge amount of mistakes. They're great. I learned a lot from them. I've learned a lot from my mistakes. I've certainly cheated on people. I've been cheated on. I've been on both sides of that. Now, right off the bat, some of you out there might want to judge me, might want to decide, well, he's cheated. He's always a cheater. Okay. And then that is your right to do so. But the problem is when you start to label people like that, one, you're labeling yourself, because if you've ever made a mistake and you won't allow someone else to make a mistake and learn from it, then you yourself really aren't allowing yourself to make mistakes and forgive yourself for them. And in a lot of cases, you probably haven't, right? Some of us may have hurt our specific person that we're interested in. We may have hurt somebody we love dearly. Relationship may have broken up because of some horrible thing that we've done. Horrible in whatever that means, it could extend all the way from violence down into just, maybe not being appreciative of their feelings, right? There's any number of varying degrees of all that. Now, I'm not labeling things as good or bad. That is not what I'm doing. What I'm talking about is the ability for us to let go and forgive people, including ourselves, for making mistakes, for growing. And I've frequently said in many cases, many times, that some of the most amazing things I've learned in life have come with pain, with some sort of mistake that hurt, with some sort of, whoops, I didn't mean it to play out like that. and some apologies, some just being knowledgeable of the fact that I've definitely hurt people, and really working on trying to change that behavior so I don't do it again. Now, if you're still continuing to do behaviors that you find yourself apologizing for, well, you need to stop doing the behaviors, right? Like, no one's going to forget or forgive anything if you keep doing it. Even if you're saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, it doesn't matter. You've said, I'm sorry, I don't mean to, like 8 times now, so I don't really believe you. Maybe you are sorry. Maybe you're unaware of the fact that you're doing it, but you continue to do it. That's not okay. That's not okay. It continues to hurt my feelings maybe, right? So no, that's not okay to continue doing that. But if you've made mistakes, learned from it, and grown, that's part of living. That's what makes us better individuals. That's what it's all about. That's what living is all about. And so if you're holding a grudge against someone because of something they've done, or if you're choosing not to give somebody a chance or even open up that doorway for them to possibly behave differently, well, you're doing a disservice to yourself and to them. And it could very well kind of keep you from what you're after, what your end goal is. Another thing a lot of us do, we'll frequently take something and we'll blow it out of proportion. We'll make it way larger than it was. Maybe someone didn't tell you that they were going to be coming home late one night. So then they come home late and you're upset with them for not coming home late. It's the first time they've ever done it. They didn't contact you and let you know. It slipped their mind. They were out late with their friends. Maybe they were even hanging with someone legit. Doesn't matter. But they just, for whatever reason, they didn't. And so you're very upset with them for not doing that. And the absolute disrespect for not being able to tell me that you were going to be late coming home. Like, I just can't believe you were doing that. I was worried sick. I was worried all night. I thought something was up. Right? Like, this whole thing starts to get larger and blown out of proportion than it needs to. That doesn't help either. Kind of look at things for what they are. Sometimes we need to remove the emotion from it, and that's really where a lot of us will start to spin these things out of control. We've got an emotional attachment to it. Because of that emotion, we'll take it off into a larger thing than it really was. It's important to acknowledge the emotion. It's important to feel things, no question about it. But when the emotion takes something and makes it larger than it technically is, that's not okay. Again, that's one of those places where we're making a mountain out of a molehill. We're not helping anyone, self-included, and the person that you're basically angry at. And really, in a lot of cases, when this is occurring, there's something else that's generally at work that's bothering you, and this little thing flared it up, right? So maybe it's not the fact that they're late. Maybe it's the fact that you've noticed there's a number of cases where they're not keeping you in mind, where they're not considering your feelings about things. Maybe they ordered for you one time and they ordered you something you don't really like, but they didn't even bother to ask because they just wanted to order for you. Or, maybe it's something where they're taking you along, didn't even bother to ask, just kind of you're showing up someplace where they know you're not going to want to be, and they didn't even ask. They just brought you there, and you're like, really? This is where we're going? Ah, man, I don't want to be here. I know. That's why I didn't tell you. Okay, that's not considerate. So maybe it's one of those things where they're not being considerate, and the fact that they didn't call you the night before and let you know they were going to be home late. It's not that they didn't call. It's they're not considerate. So let's look at the problem. Let's have a dialogue with them about what's really bothering us, not this thing that we've put a Band-Aid on that has nothing to do with the actual problem. And certainly, when we've had issues in the past, something that's happened eons ago, nobody is the same person they were 20 years ago. No one is the same person they were 10 years ago. So much has happened. Look at each and every one of our lives and look at where you were 10 years ago. Even if you're a 60-year-old person, 10 years ago is still a reasonably significant portion of time. It's 1/6 of your life. And back in your early 50s versus your early 60s, you had probably a different take on many things. And again, when you're talking about someone that's maybe 30, 10 years is a significant difference. And a lot of things happen in your 20s that are just life-changing. They alter our growth. They alter our understanding. And so, when you start to look at it from that standpoint, a 10-year span can actually be a significant chunk of our life. And a lot of things have happened since. So are we holding someone accountable to something that maybe happened a long time ago? And we need to just kind of let go, or at least give them a chance to see if they can prove us wrong, or give them a chance to see if you believe they're going to do something horribly. Certainly, you're putting power towards it. So that's that us pushed out kind of concept that everyone talks about. But if you're going to give someone a chance and just be loving, it's like, well, I love you. I want to see. Let's be good. Let's be together. Let's be honest with each other. Let's like start to set what your expectations are in the relationship as far as communication, as far as being good to each other, as far as being kind to each other, as far as, taking into account my opinion on something. You make those things known up front, and then when the rules are known and people decide not to play by them, well, there you go. Now you can start to, sorry, we talked about it, and here you are not doing it. Here you are making the same thing you did to me 10 years ago. No, we're done. Oh, but no, there's no babas about it. You're still doing it. Behavior's happening still. You've not changed. Remember, what we're feeling is what we're creating. And when it comes to getting a specific person back, a lot of us are very much coming from that place where some sort of mistake has happened. You have to let go of that mistake. You have to. If you made it, you have to let go of it. Learn from it. Best never make that mistake again. But certainly, you made a mistake. That's part of growing. And if you go through life afraid to ever make mistakes, you are truly going to grow very, very little in life. Because most of the growth that we're going to experience is going to come through these mistakes. It's going to come down these avenues. So allow yourself the chance to make mistakes. Allow yourself to, have spell check, if you will, on your own life, or some sort of grammar check, right? Allow for these things, and allow for them and others as well. Give people a chance. If there's someone that you really, really enjoy, if someone you really, really care about, give them the chance. And if they're you, that should definitely be someone you love very much, and should definitely be someone you care about. And if you do, then forgive yourself. Give yourself a chance. Allow yourself to be successful. Allow yourself that chance to your success, to your dreams. Stop holding things in this old light. Stop feeling that frustration regarding what happened many, many months ago. Stop beating yourself up for the mistakes you've made in the past. And love yourself for who you are right now. Not who you were yesterday, not who you were the day before that. Who cares who you were yesterday? Who are you right now? Are you happy with right now? Then be happy with you. If there's things about you right now that you think you should improve, then start working on improving those things. This is where we talk about self-love. And part of this anger, part of this frustration, part of these feelings are part of self-love. And if you're not forgiving yourself, you're not truly loving yourself, because love is forgiveness, right? Isn't that what we do for others? I love you so much. Oh, they made a mistake. It's okay. I love them. Yeah? Do you do that for you? Do you love yourself that much? You should. You should love yourself probably more than anybody in the big picture, because when you truly love yourself, that's when you can truly give love to others. That's when you can be more loving to others, because you are more loving to you. It's, again, what are we being? Then we can be more of that, and that's what we can attract more of by what we're vibrating at. And again, if we're vibrating negative because of hurts and whatnots, that's also what we're attracting. More of that negativity, more of that separation, more of that anger and angst. It's not helping us. Let's let go of it. Let's stop holding people accountable for things that happened eons ago. Let's see who they are right now. Have they learned? Have they changed? Have they grown? Good. Give them the chance. Let them, if it's someone that matters, give them all the opportunity in the world to prove themselves correct. And if they prove the alternative, well, then so be it. Then maybe that's the answer to the question you ultimately needed in the big picture, is they haven't changed. Maybe this isn't someone that's healthy for me. Maybe I need to look differently at that. Hopefully this makes a difference in the big picture for all you guys. Going out with a one-hit wonder, big time, back when I was in college. The band's called Cause and Effect. The song is called